Hello, welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here.
Hi.
Pillar of Garbage over there.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me. If you're unfamiliar with Pillar of Garbage, he is a video essayist who does a lot of stuff related to media critiques and criticism, as well as you seem to have fallen down to an AI rabbit hole recently.
Haven't we all?
Just released a video on Stranger Things about a half an hour ago. So I watched that quickly on 2.5 times speed.
Nice. Got to be done.
Yeah. I mean, you timed it perfectly, so.
Yeah, I mean, I only realized I was going to make it like a week and a half ago. I was just like, you know, if I'm a YouTuber who's trying to get some views, I'd kind of be stupid not to, you know? This
Yeah,
is the time.
absolutely.
This is the video you have to make.
100%, which is why I didn't make it, because I'm bad at my job. So we are raising money for Project Share, which is a food bank in my local area. They do so much more than just food bank stuff. They also help run a homeless shelter. They help people find jobs. They help people that are late on their bills, and all sorts of, like, they've got over 24 programs of that variety to help people. And funds are needed this year more than any other year, for probably the same reason why I'm having a hard time collecting funds for them this time around. So if you can donate, go to donate.vicerhino.com or click the link in the description, or that the chatbots should be spamming in the chat. Do not send super chats. YouTube takes a 30% cut of those, and Project Share is too small to be on their charity thing where they won't. So definitely donate on the website, and we'll be checking in on donors as we go. My God, there was something else I wanted to say, but it's left my mind. Oh yeah, I was going to warn people that Pillar of Garbage is going to be eating some pizza while we stream.
I timed my day very badly.
It seems to be a common theme among professional YouTubers that we have certain ADHD tendencies, and time blindness is definitely one of those. So yeah. Oh yeah, no, what I was going to say is, I don't know if I told you in any of the emails, but I normally do this with a co-host.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're from the UK, I'm from Canada. Completely slipped my mind that it was going to be Thanksgiving this weekend.
Yeah.
And then
right.
Even if I had remembered it, it's weird to me that your Thanksgiving's on a Thursday.
What's that all about?
I don't
Thursday is
know.
the wrong day for a holiday. There's not a right day, but it's not Thursday.
You don't get a long weekend if it's a Thursday. Like, what is with
Yeah.
what is that?
It's probably a psyop. You know, the government, U.S. government, doesn't want any of their workers slacking off for even a minute. So you know,
Yeah, something like
they were
that.
probably planning this 200 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's make sure
guaranteed.
we give thanks on a economically expeditious day.
Oh, well, I think it was Lincoln that determined the day at some point. I don't know. I don't know. Canadian Thanksgiving's in October. That makes a lot more sense. It's a harvest festival.
Yeah, that's nice. That's pleasant. We got a
Um,
harvest festival, but it's like a kind of primary school kids only sort of deal.
you don't get together with your family and gorge on food that you don't normally
Oh, we do that every week. Yeah.
eat. Okay, now I do have to say I titled the stream based on one of your videos. The stream is that we are making some inherently stupid content together.
Yes, I
Um,
saw that.
I really enjoy that video. Um,
Thank you.
and as an inherently stupid content creator, um, I so, if you could just give us a quick breakdown of the concept of
Oh,
what
all
what
right,
is
you put
meant
me
by
on the spot
inherently
here.
stupid content.
Well, it's basically it comes down to the idea that, well, at its most basic, right? Language is a imperfect system. Anytime you, even if we're talking about just speech, and anytime you kind of translate an idea from like the real into a system of, you know, language or, you know, writing or filming or, you know, art or anything, you're not getting kind of 100% fidelity. And what I tried to explore in that video is it can be true that nothing is ever fully kind of faithful to reality, but it can also be true within that you can kind of simplify, you can stupidize in a more faithful way and a less faithful way. And that's what that video is about, I think. I've not thought about it in a few
That's
months.
that pretty well sums up what I was thinking it meant. And what kind of struck me with that is that like I engage in that all the time, both the good faith and sometimes the bad faith. So on my channel, one of my primary things that I focus on is responding to young Earth creationists.
Love
And
those guys.
yeah, so the thing is, I one of my big issues is that by taking such a literal view of the Bible, you're actually missing out on what makes the
Yeah,
Bible a beautiful book.
the Bible's actually, you know, if you read it as this, you know, even if you're even if you are of a kind of faithful mindset, if you read it and keep in mind the fact that it is whatever else it might be, it is also like what, like 3,000-year-old kind of really inventive poetry and prose and whatever else. You know, if you close your eyes to that, then it's like, you know, imagine if there was like a genre of guy who like only engaged with Greek myth or, you know, Homer or something as
Mhm.
literal fact, and then
Yeah.
imagine how much kind of poorer his imaginary world would be. It's
Well,
fucked up.
that's one of the things that I've learned through doing this channel. So I am an atheist. But one of the things I have learned about Christianity and Judaism is that uh, the ancient Jewish tradition, and this goes back to like before Rabbinic Judaism even really developed, was that a text was considered dead if you could no longer reinterpret it to mean something new.
Yeah.
And so the way that young Earth creationists have taken that and been like, this is what it means because that's what it says, is like, well, the people that wrote the damn thing would say that you've just killed it. But yeah, no, with regards to the stupid content thing, like I have done that thing where it's like, oh yeah, no, it's a story about how a talking snake talked a rib lady into eating a fruit that made the whole world go to shit. And it's like, yeah, no, that is a definite bad faith summary of the story.
We've all done it a few times, haven't we?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even then though, you know, you could get into so many rabbit holes. Like, yeah, you were making a bad faith kind of reduction of it, but also like in that being your response to you know, the biblical thing, you're kind of, you know, gesturing at something beyond those words, and then it opens it up again, and maybe you're kind of, you know, there's it opens it up to interpretation. That was the kind of end of that video I didn't really get into, which is like nothing's ever exact, is it? You know, we summarize stuff, we say this is actually about this, but there's all even when you look at what that language actually produces, there's such a gulf between me saying it as a native English speaker and someone else hearing it as a native English speaker, you'd think there'd be 100% kind of conversion there, but it's just nothing means anything. It's all kind of up for grabs.
Yeah, no.
Drive you crazy.
I, again, not to keep bringing it back onto the thing that I do, but it's what I know. Um, is that one of the difficulties with interpreting ancient text passages is that you can like one of the criteria for determining if something is true that a lot of Christian apologists will use is a criterion of embarrassment, which is like, well, why would they write this in the book? It's clearly something that would embarrass them, so it must be true, or they wouldn't have included it. That presupposes that you know what would embarrass someone from a completely
Yeah.
different culture in a completely different time.
And it also presupposes the fact that all these scribes are like well-adjusted normal dudes. I don't know, like if I'm kind of hitting it, kicking it in ancient Judea or Palestine or whatever, and I'm like, my options are, go down to the tavern, play dice, or like kind of lock myself up in like a hermitage and, contribute to these ancient scrolls. Like if I'm doing the latter one, I'm probably like maybe atypical in some ways.
Maybe a little. um, so yeah, back to you. So how did you wind up going from like your channel is almost entirely media criticism, but then the AI started sneaking in, and now you like not only are you doing stuff about AI, but it's almost meta video essayist thing, with like your inherent stupidity of content thing. That was a video about making video essays essentially. So like how did you kind of make that like obviously with the video you just released you're going back like it's not completely you don't do media criticism but like how did that happen?
I suppose it's not a strategy so much as it is me doing YouTube badly and not sticking to a niche and just kind of going with whatever I'm interested in writing about at that moment. I'm kind of always pulling myself back from doing the sort of more meta ones. I know I shouldn't do too many of them because they're very insider baseball. But in a sense, I've been doing them for quite a while. Like some of my most viewed videos, uh, not that I've ever made a ton of these, but they've definitely been some of my most viewed videos, like response videos, critiques of this YouTuber saying this thing or that YouTuber saying this thing, why it makes a harmful pattern, blah blah blah. And in a sense,
Every time I did a search for your channel the first suggested search is pillar of garbage critical drinker.
yep, there you go. I've made like 3 of those videos. I've made like they're less than 1% of my output, and it's just YouTube's gonna YouTube. But in a sense, that sort of thing. There's not like too much distance between one of those videos and the more meta ones that I've been doing this year. Maybe it's a question of emphasis and branding. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I get it. There's definitely been times when I have just made the video that I want to make instead of the one that is my niche. And sometimes it does well, other times it does not. Now this is more on a personal note. I was recently in the UK for a few days, and well, about a week. I was shocked at how difficult it was to find a good cup of tea in the UK.
Were you like in cafes and stuff?
So the best cup of tea I could find there was now. To be fair, I'm not actually a tea drinker. I am an
Yeah.
Earl Grey drinker. I have my one tea that I like, and it has to be done my way. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's. But like, the only place that had loose leaf tea was a little. It was a chain. It wasn't a small cafe, so it was a chain restaurant. But it was in Edinburgh, and that was the only place. And remarkably, they had the exact same pot that I have at home, like the little kettle that you put the loose leaves in. Exact same one I had at home. That was the one that felt like maybe that's why it felt most like my cup of tea because it's in the kettle that I'm used to using. But like everywhere else, it's just like, no, here's your little grocery store tea bag.
To be fair, there is an art to the supermarket tea bag, and I think the difficulty is, if you'd have been going around people's houses, right, and they've been making you, they've been getting the Tetley or the Yorkshire tea out of the cupboard and making you a nice cup, I think you would have had a nice cup of that. Thing is, it's tricky for these, because the cafes and stuff, they want to sell tea at the same price as coffee, and they want to, have it on the menu as well, but then they just chuck you the bag and some kind of tepid water, and
Hmm.
that's never going to turn out right. For a nation of tea drinkers, we don't really mess around with the loose leaf stuff too much, but yeah, you can get a nice cup out of a cardboard carton, 70 pack sort of tea bag, but you're not gonna. Our cafe culture sucks. I'll say it. I'll say it.
You know
I don't,
what?
I don't care who hears it.
There was one in London that I actually did like. It was, I don't know if this one was a chain, but it was very much like a Starbucks, except the people behind the counter were, I don't necessarily want to say rude, but like they didn't want to talk to you. And that's
Oh
actually
yeah.
one of the things I hate about Starbucks is that they actually require their employees to make small talk with you. And I'm like,
Oh, I don't think they do that here.
I'm just here. I'm here for my caffeine because I can't do the small talk until I've had it.
Yeah. That's one of the things about British, I guess, customer service more generally. There's, you go into a shop here and you're never under the illusion that they want to talk to you. If they could be anywhere else, they would. And that's fine. And I respect that because I'm
I
the
actually
same.
like.
I don't want to be in.
I prefer that. It's like I
Yeah,
don't want to be in the grocery store any more than you want to be working at the grocery store, but it's got to be
exactly.
done. Um, yeah. So just a reminder to everybody, we are raising money for Project Share. We haven't had any donations yet on this stream. Oh wait, no, I don't. I
Yeah,
forgot to put my automatic refresh thing on, so maybe we have, and I just.
maybe we have. I don't know. I have
Oh
no
no, wait, 30
conception of how
seconds.
many of my viewers I'm pulling.
Oh,
Yo,
we got $69. Nice.
that's amazing.
Okay, let's see who. Oh no,
I guest on live streams every now and then, and I can never tell if there's like one or two of my viewers watching or if it's like tons. I think partially because I've only started showing face recently. Like, I think I have less of a kind of, you know, oh hey, it's that guy I like to watch on the internet. Let me follow what he's doing. I think so yeah. Say what's up in chat if you're here on my
yeah.
account because that'd be cool. That'd be nice.
Where? Sorry, I am trying to display the. There we go. Oh, that's too big. I don't know what that crop job was supposed to be, but there we go. Elizabeth C donated $69. Thank you, Elizabeth C.
Thank you, Elizabeth C.
That was very nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, now I have my automatic refresh thing going, so that progress bar should actually update. um. Okay.
Next one should be $67. I hear
Oh
67
my
is a
God.
popular number these days.
I have
for some
5
reason.
children. I am down with. I saw someone. People have been tweeting out that what you're familiar with Zoran Mamdani.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, so he won the election, and people are freaking out. And there was an account on Twitter that posted that like it's been announced that he's going to require all students in New York to learn Arabic numerals, which
Yeah, great.
which of course
No.
are the ones that we all already know. But oh god, I forget where I was going with that. Oh yeah,
Hey,
no,
some
no.
people will struggle,
Someone, someone who got the joke replied with like, you know what? We probably should learn a different numerical system because I'm just tired of 6-7.
True. True. Yeah. What would 6-7? What would the equivalent of 6-7 be on like base 12? Or what was like they had like a knuckle counting system in like ancient Mesopotamia. I wonder what stupid brain rot nonsense they had on that.
I don't know. Kids have been kids
Kids have been kids.
for generations. Like every generation is upset about the previous generation, or each generation gets upset about the next generation, how they're behaving. Kids these days, and
Kids these days.
yeah. So yeah, I have experienced that as well, and but I'm self-aware about it. I know that I'm being an old man yelling at a cloud. Now another. Okay, so this is another one that I've noticed this myself, and I wonder how it affects creators like you, because I do response videos, so I do use other
Yeah.
people's stuff in my videos, but generally like it's other YouTubers and stuff, and occasionally I'll use like clips from movies or whatever to emphasize a point. I have noticed over the last week, YouTube has really been cracking down on copyright stuff. So like
It's
every
funny you
day,
say that.
every day I've
I
got 3 or 4 new emails about how this video can't be monetized because it found copyright stuff. And
Yeah, I feel like they are. I did think today, are they, tinkering with some of the levers back there? Because so I put that Stranger Things video out like an hour ago,
mhm.
and I uploaded it like 2 hours ago. So I was glued to my screen as the checking thing went across.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it going to flag something up? And it hadn't completed. It was like 40% of the way through, and then it said one found, and I was like, shit. Fuck, this is gonna have to re-edit it. Then I'm gonna have to re-render it and upload it. I'll be lucky if I get it out tomorrow. And then it finished checking, and the one disappeared. So like
Yep. I've
that
seen
to me, I don't know. Like I've not seen that. I think I've seen that once or twice before, but if they're changing stuff at the moment, I wonder if that's like an artifact of whatever half-formed new system they're trying to push in there.
so that particular one I've been seeing for months now. But
Okay.
it's just in the last week I've gotten several emails every day about older videos of mine that they've now found copyrighted material and like I don't ever play a lot.
Yeah.
So I've often wondered how like a channel like yours, which before you started showing your face on video, it was all movie clips.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you haven't like shrunk them down and put a border over them or a filter or anything to
I've tried that. It doesn't make much of a difference, really. The golden rule for me is the 8 second rule. I'll never show more than 8 continuous seconds of like one cut. And less than that if it's got the audio in it as well.
yeah, I was going to say the
I'll
audio is what gets
Yeah,
you.
or if there's like a bit of the score in the movie, like I won't even play 5 continuous seconds of that because it'll get claimed.
Oh,
I do I get the short end of the stick sometimes. Like two of my best performing videos last year, I had one on Over the Hedge and one on Smiling Friends,
I
and
love that
those are
video.
both demonetized. Like between
Oh
them,
my
they've
god.
got I think over 500,000 views between those two, which is awesome. And like that's a bunch of people that are getting funneled to my other stuff, so that's still helpful in some regard. But Jesus Christ, does it sting to look at those and see that I'm not getting a penny from them? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, especially I don't know if this is your only source of income.
Oh
Um
yeah.
yeah, it is a very scary position to be in to know that like some guy that you don't know might pull a lever at his work one day and that
Yeah.
makes your career go away.
It's great. I love being the most precarious of all the precarious workers in the whole world. I'm not even a worker. I'm a YouTube doesn't we don't get the dignity of being employees. We're just, oh yeah, hey guy who clearly we have a long-term relationship with you and we've been paying you monthly for the past few years. You're just a guy. We're just in the same room together. You don't work for me. I'm not the boss of you. Here, have this AdSense payment that's weirdly smaller than the last one. It's great. Big
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah. That's oh, mental health, am I right? What even is it?
Yes. Couldn't tell you.
Uh, yeah. I also your somewhat recent video on ContraPoints.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I actually really liked how you handled that one because that could have very easily turned into a drama. I am calling out this other creator for clout
Yeah.
sort of video, and I thought you handled it very well.
Thank you.
But
It's been really nice to hear that from I think a few other creators have said that to me, and it's like I know I shouldn't privilege, voices like yours above the average commenter because, everyone's lived a rich full life and I don't know that they have less insight, but it is very gratifying. It did feel like a bit of a coin toss when I made that one. Am I going to regret this horribly?
yeah, but along those lines, I am curious of your thoughts on whether or not creators should be like how much responsibility do creators in the space in like the video essay space have to cover important world politics topics.
I don't know. I think my gut response to that is that it's not, anything specific to a video essayist or a niche at all, and it's just we all have certain amounts of power or influence in certain zones. Maybe for a lot of people that's just very limited. It's, what do you say to your family or your colleagues or whatever, and maybe for the few of us that have something resembling a platform on this site, obviously scaling up as you get to someone like a ContraPoint size, that becomes greater and greater. And I think, responsibility, it's tricky. Who even knows where that starts and ends? But like, I think, don't claim you don't have a pattern of speaking out about things and a platform that you've tried to build when the thing that you should be speaking out following that logic is now like, a bit more controversial, right? I don't even know if I'd say that, ContraPoints or anyone else had a responsibility to make that video or address the Palestine topic in any way. It's just, you know,
It's so it's not so much
it's
that they are responsible for addressing it, it's that she did try to address why she wasn't addressing it.
yeah, that's it. Like I wouldn't have been one of those guys making the videos like, it's been 2 years and ContraPoints is silent on Israel. I don't think there's any value in being that guy. It's what I was trying to do with that video was not like a, I'm gonna pretend I'm telepathic YouTuber and I'm gonna tell you what Natalie Wynn's thinking and why she's wrong. It's like this statement she's put out is kind of very interesting and very strange and very bad. Let's look at the statement and let's kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I definitely had a little bit of sympathy with the, like, I have had people ask me why haven't I covered X before.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah, me too.
do I owe you an explanation as to why like, I don't know. But at the same time, like, I do cover politics on my streaming channel, and we cover current events a lot, and so there are some things that, like, I feel like if I don't cover this, that will be a very glaring statement on its own.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's like I don't think it's not like a one size fits all thing. I once got asked when I was gonna break my silence on South Park. So it's just the slippery slope of like expectation to delusion in cases like this. It's a wild one. It's gonna get you. Shout out whoever chucked another $20 on the pile. By the way.
Yeah, that was someone donated $20 anonymously. Thank you, someone. Yeah. Sorry, I forget where I was going. But
No, it's fine. I was just sneaking in a pizza bite while the screen was up.
I also wanted to, so on the subject of AI, since that has been a lot of recent videos, I was kind of curious. In your bigger one, well, the longer one, not necessarily the bigger one, you mentioned the Wizard of Oz sphere AI thing. I'm curious, have you seen I think Corridor Digital did an episode where they talked about how that was done?
I hadn't, no, I've not seen that. People have brought that up to me after the fact. It's an interesting case. I will say probably addressing it in the way I did in the video was a mistake. I would have done it differently if I'd realized that going in. But also, it's something I added to the pinned comment there is like kind of one of the points that video ends on is like, yeah, we don't know. We're just guys. We're just guys on the outside. There's gonna be things that we get wrong in trying to talk about this, and that's not necessarily because we're not doing our due diligence as much as it is that the media is like such a distorting mirror for this sort of thing. I read a bunch of news articles about it, and I tried to follow their coverage, and it's just all those were wrong too, apparently.
Yeah, so that's the point that I wanted to make with this is that that was mostly a marketing thing. They saw AI as the buzzword, and yeah, they did use AI tools, but there were thousands of people that actually worked to like in the visual effects thing, and so I'm kind of wondering if what your thoughts are on this as to whether AI is going to become the next CGI when it comes to marketing movies.
I think it would in a world where we don't all recoil when we hear AI. I think.
Oh no, that's so my point was that. Oh god, I forgot I still had the hats on. Sorry, this is one of my normal stream gimmicks.
Okay.
I wear silly hats, and it's the communism hat today.
Nice.
Yeah, so no, the thing that I was getting at is that because we have such a visceral negative reaction to AI, and they're starting to see that. Um, are they then going to pivot to like how the Barbie movie, for instance, was advertised as there's no CGI in this movie, to the point where they
Oh, I see what
actually
you mean. Yeah.
like they actually used CGI in the behind the scenes things to remove the green screens. Um, so I'm just wondering if that's going to be if AI is going to be a similar trajectory where like it becomes kind of a normal thing that studios use, and then they will fall back and be like, oh no, we didn't use it for this one.
Yeah, I think apparently we are already seeing some of that. One article I bring up, makes a somewhat credible case that like, if not wholesale like generative AI, like visual sequences in movies or stuff like that, then you're seeing it being used in earlier stages of the production, like to sort of cheap out on concept artists and stuff like that a lot more. I'm sure that's already happening. I'm sure it'll continue to happen.
Yeah.
I do think though, in terms of wider kind of norm shifting, I don't know if they've got time. Obviously, everyone talks about the AI bubble. If that pops, it's not like it vaporizes every LLM on the planet and no one can use it anymore. But in terms of like projects like the Natasha Lyonne thing I talk about in that video, where it is kind of the selling point is in your face AI. Hey, let's make projects that are very obviously AI. And then eventually in a few years, if we keep doing it, maybe it'll get profitable and blah blah blah. I don't think companies that are taking that approach have so much of a future. I think what we will see is there's tools like Runway, which have some. I believe there's some amount of generative stuff in there that gets used a little bit, but also it kind of we get to the blurry edge of what AI means and what is just kind of iterations on like the machine learning stuff they were doing a decade ago. That's going to get used more and more, and maybe like it's going to get sold with the AI buzzword to sympathetic people in the industry, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually something that's bothered me about this large language model thing since day one, because I'm a bit of a nerd for I have watched videos about like I had this machine learning algorithm learn how to play this video game by running it through this video game with a system of rewards and punishments or whatever for the machine learning thing. And then like this is how it went from not knowing how to turn the car right to beating the world record time. And it's like it's just using machine learning and neural networks. Like it wasn't really AI, but then LLMs are just like an extension of that same earlier technology. It's like, and I hate that everything gets the AI label, even when it's like because if you're just looking at machine learning, video editing tools have been doing that shit for ages.
Yeah, I mean, there's even an AI fan will probably tell you that there's no hard and fast definition. I think it clouds around kind of the new age of models that are based on transformers, which are a tech thing for people in the chat, that I don't understand well enough to kind of explain.
I'm not going to lie, my brain when you said transformers, I know what you meant, but I just defaulted to robots in disguise.
Yeah, behind every dogshit Will Smith spaghetti thing, there's just Optimus Prime in a server farm, sweating profusely. But yeah, there's so much overlap between. When you say generative AI, that becomes a little bit clearer, but even then, like, stuff gets sold as generative AI that's just like the Runway stuff. It's like machine learning to detect noise and remove it or stuff like that, and that's not really in line with this kind of new bubble of it. But 5 years ago we were calling the fucking computer racers in Mario Kart AI. We were talking about Skyrim Radiant AI, where it gives you boring quests again and again. Like, the vagueness is the point, I think, to a degree.
I actually have a memory of playing Mario Kart on the original Mario Kart on Super Nintendo. That I commented on beating the computer, and my friend corrected me. He was like, "It's not the computer; it's a Nintendo." Have we lost you, or you just turned the camera off?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
I'll be back on screen in just a moment.
Nope, just that's the pizza, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm being very, I'm
No,
being so sneaky. I think the audience, maybe they wouldn't even realize I'm eating a pizza at all. You know, I
you're
think I've got the kind of spycraft levels.
you were doing a way better job of eating on stream than I ever have.
Um, yeah, but hey, thanks for having me. Thanks to all the people in chat and the donators. That's 100 more bucks since I've joined. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's another anonymous donor says, "Hope you get your goal this year, but if not, you've still done so much good in the world. Thank you for that."
yeah, it's funny. I, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking again about how many of my guys are I can pull to something like this. I think I've. It's weird because like I don't know if there's such a thing as like Canadian food bank fatigue, but if there is, I might be doing you a bit of a dirty here because I happened to be on a completely unrelated charity live stream last week for feeding the unhoused people in Canada. So I don't know if
Yeah.
like
Well,
maybe the people in my Discord have like they start the year out with $100 that's earmarked for giving to Canadian people trying to get food, and they're like, oh shoot, you know,
I also
you should
know
have told me last week, Pillar.
I have a I have a I imagine most of my audience also listens to some of the podcasts by the Puzzle in a Thunderstorm crew, which every November they do Vulgarity for Charity fundraiser, and that just kind of clashes with my like I think I started this the same year they started Vulgarity for Charity, and it just so happened we did the same month, and we've done it the same month ever since. So it's like, it's kind of hard to ask everybody to donate to my charity when they're asking to donate to that charity, and
Yeah.
yeah, um,
It's also rough. Like I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be a YouTuber. I'd be like a fucking comedian or something. Well, I'm not funny enough to be a comedian. I'd be an in-person version of this if I was like socially well-adjusted enough to not feel kind of bad about asking people for money. I already don't like to do Patreon reads. It's like
oh,
I already like get a twinge of guilt every time I see someone else sign up for my Patreon because I'm kind of like, I know I've made all these videos and I know people like them and I know I do a bunch of bonus stuff, but like maybe I am an imposter and maybe I am just stealing all these people's money, you know? Part of me is I feel like they should add a big glowing thing to the YouTube studio that says you are not an imposter. But
instead we just get the big red arrows telling us that nobody liked
yes,
our videos.
I love those arrows.
Oh,
Streaming though, like so you've been doing this a while,
yeah,
right? It's something I'm thinking about starting at some point, but like I I always wonder about like because the kind of writer slash thinker I am is that I don't know how I feel about something until I like sit down and kind of pick up a notepad or open up Microsoft Word and kind of write my way to a thought. How do you kind of like manage to be a sort of a lucid thoughtful presence while kind of running on the spot, as it were?
you've already seen me lose my train of thought several times in this stream. It does
Yeah,
not
but you
happen.
did it so naturally.
No, I guess so I started my stream just kind of because I thought that was the thing that like that's the next logical business move. Like
Yeah.
I do this for a job, so I have to stream more. And so the thing that I did was like, okay, I argue with people on Twitter all the time, so I'm gonna take screenshots and be like, I'm gonna instead of arguing on Twitter, I'm gonna put the screenshot up and be like, this is why that person's wrong.
That rocks, actually. That's like the kind of wish fulfillment version of the shower argument,
Basically, yes. But I'm also bad on my own. Like the first few episodes where I did it by myself are just so painful to watch. So I used to have a rotating cast of people that would join me, and it just kind of settled on this one person who now it's just our Wednesday thing where we stream together and we cover some news items, and then we make fun of people that are still on Twitter, which I still call Twitter, even though it's not Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think a thing that kind of helps with that is there's the core audience of viewers, like the names that you recognize, and so it feels not so much like a performance anymore as just a conversation
Like
with
a
these people
hangout.
that you know. Like I know that a lot is said about parasocial relationships, But sometimes it does go both ways.
Yeah, there are silver linings. There's a good video by the Leftist Cooks which touches on that. I think it's the Neil Gaiman one. Shout out that video if any of you guys want to validate your own feelings about parasociality a little bit. You know.
Oh, but how was this before or after the allegations about Neil Gaiman came out?
No, it was after. It's kind of like an inward look into like what does it mean to have someone you idolize be a monster, you know, and how can you kind of reconcile
okay.
that with
Neil Gaiman makes perfect sense for that then.
yes. No, props to you for having the mental fortitude to log on to twitter.com though. I've not like opened it for like a year plus.
The only thing I go there for anymore to collect like if anything, Elon taking it over has actually made this job easier. It's a lot easier to find bad people saying bad things.
It's great. Like presumably my feed hasn't like changed. Like the couple of times I've opened the app by mistake in the past few months, it's just like far right propaganda, you know, and like my feed I was not like searching out rage bait intentionally before. I just followed like normal people. I think it's great that like so many people are just having their brains microwaved on that level for months at a time.
Yeah, no, I don't know how anyone stays on there. Like it's such a cesspool. Like I don't know.
Blue Sky's better because no one's on there.
I mean, my following on Blue Sky is a lot smaller, but I have a lot more fun when I'm there.
Yeah. I also find there's more engagement, like in terms of, you know, I would post something on Twitter. I mean, my following's probably bigger on Blue Sky than it ever was on Twitter, but back when that wasn't the case, you know, I would post a link on Twitter and maybe 2 people would click it and it would be like 20 on Blue Sky. So actually, you know, shout out Blue Sky. You guys rock.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Blue Sky are watching this. Blue Sky are like a group of people and they're watching this. Mr. Blue Sky, John Blue Sky.
I mean, they've been away for so long. Yellow reference? Anyone? Mr. Blue Sky?
Statistically, someone in chat will get it. Oh, okay. Shit. It took me a minute. I got there in the end.
Yeah. I think that's a good song. Let's see. Oh yeah. So I also wanted to ask: Have you noticed the under the videos now the new YouTube AI tool Ask, where instead of watching the video, you can click a button under the video and it'll have an AI summary.
Oh, it's great. It's like there is no clearer representation of the way the imperative to jam AI and everything is just actually contrary to how most things work. Yeah. It's because YouTube don't want you to not watch the video. They want you to watch the video and see the ads. So it's like, just makes you want to slam your head into a wall, really, doesn't it?
It's like, I didn't click on YouTube to read.
Yeah. I made a video about like almost 2 years ago about like, there was like a few companies, like, you know, really low rent shitty ones doing AI bots, like trying to sell them to viewers to be like, hey, now you don't have to watch YouTube videos anymore. You can just get this bot to summarize them for you.
Yes.
And I probably gave them too much shit because, you know, fucking hell, they were ahead of the curve, it seems, if they were a year ahead of Google.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have used ChatGPT as kind of a search, like if I want to reference a past video of mine, I have almost 1,000 videos on my channel. I've said a lot of things over the years.
Yeah.
And I don't know where those things are located a lot of the time. And so I'll go to ChatGPT and be like, hey, find the time when Vice Rhino said this. And it is always wrong.
Amazing. And that's like the one thing you would expect it to be able to do.
Yeah, like nice. It should be able to just search the transcripts and be like, oh, this is when he did that. Like that should be an ideal use case for ChatGPT.
Yeah. I don't use ChatGPT like at all. But
now this is the only thing I've used it for. And I don't anymore.
Did use it. I every now and then I feel tempted to use it for this, which is, you know, when you like remember half a quote or like half an idea and you're like, shit, I want to pursue this further, but like, fuck me if I know who said it. Like in theory, I think that's the kind of thing that ChatGPT actually would be useful for. But like, if it can't just get like basic facts right, then I'm not going to trust it to do that. And like,
well, that's the thing, is that it could. it could be a decent like it if it was actually good at it, it could be a decent starting point where like, okay, yeah, it said this person said that quote. Now that gives me something that I can use a real search engine to figure out.
Yeah.
Especially
If
if
the
it's,
real search engine still worked, that is.
yeah, I mean, for anything not location based, I have actually switched to DuckDuckGo. I mean,
I was on a Cozier for a bit, but I think that went downhill too.
it has. I think they got acquired by I want to say Microsoft based on how all the news results go through MSN.com.
Yeah.
Um,
All the companies being one company is a really positive development, I feel. You know?
yeah, I've actually made the switch to Linux because Windows is just shoving too many AI things down your throat and automatically enabling them. And even the ones that don't come automatically enabled, they automatically enable other features that they said they would never do that with as well. So it's like it's only a matter of time before they do that with this one.
I was reading a PDF the other day or week. I don't know, time kind of loses all meaning when you're a YouTuber. There were 5 different points on the user interface, like not just like variations on the same thing, but like 5 different things either on the side or popping up at me to prompting me to use the fucking Adobe Acrobat AI summary thing. And it's just like, why it feels, you know, it feels like you can't turn your computer on these days without like a little boot popping out the side and kicking you in the nuts. They just using technology has never felt this hostile before, and I don't think it's good. Maybe that's a hot take.
It's enshittification on steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts, and I think a large chunk of it is caused by the fact that in the States where most of these companies are based, it is actually legally required that they increase value for their shareholders. So like
I've heard about that. I've read some writing that like it's sometimes a misinterpretation of something and it's not actually law. Is that definitely the case?
That was my understanding. This is the first I've heard that it's a misinterpretation.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe we should ask ChatGPT.
In there, yeah. I mean, it would be in big businesses' interests, right, for it to just be a lie. You know, someone comes to Microsoft, hey, why are you doing this? And then they just, you know, they can just lie to you.
I mean, there definitely is something there about how they do have, like, they can't just run the company into the ground. Like, if you have a publicly traded company, you can't just run it into the ground intentionally. Yeah. So, like, it might just be that it's not that they're legally required to increase value for the shareholders. It's just that's the way it works. But like, yeah, no, it's just one of those things where it's like their responsibility is more to the shareholders than it is to the customer, and that results in the customers not really having a great time.
Well, people are always thinking about the customer. You know, I think we should think more about the shareholder. You know, they're there day in, day out, holding the shares. Sometimes these shares can be pretty heavy. You know, with some of these guys, they're holding like 50,000 Microsoft shares. That's going to do you back in after a while. So we should probably orient our society, lives, and planet wholesale around kind of giving them a little bit of a cushier time. That would be my position if I run for election.
I mean, I once bought 1 share of Nvidia as a bit of a joke, and that was before they skyrocketed to the moon.
Yeah,
and then it started skyrocketing, and I held on to it for long enough that I did make a little bit of money, but like I sold it way before it was what it is now, and kind of wish I'd have held on to it a little bit longer. But
yeah,
I also had a friend once accidentally send me 20 Bitcoin.
Oof.
And that was like back when it was worth like $100 a coin.
Oh, wow.
And I was a good friend, so I sent it back to him. And now I look at him like that would have been $2 million.
Yeah. Being a good person is rough. This is why I'm currently like 3/4 into a pump and dump. Pillar of garbage isn't even my real name. I'm gonna like run off into the sunset.
Oh my God.
Just all that YouTube money.
That's a scandal.
All of that YouTube money.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I do want to say AI and machine learning and all that, it's not always bad. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are companies like DeepSeek or DeepMind, whatever Google's AI is.
Yeah. DeepMind.
That one is used for medical research a lot with protein folding.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it has very rapidly increase the rate at which researchers are able to figure out the physical structures of proteins, which are really important aspect of medicine. Um, so like that is a potential good use case for AI.
Yeah, and people have been using AI or even transformer based stuff rather than just machine learning stuff. It's it does have some good use cases, but like, and I'm sure elements of that have been accelerated slightly by the trillions of dollars being put into them. But we were a lot of the stuff they're using at the moment for in climate protection stuff and in medical stuff, like we had them or like versions of them 5 years ago. You know, there is definitely a disconnect between the model of all the companies ever should put all of their money into running chatbots at higher and
Yeah.
higher resolutions because that'll make a god appear, and scaling up the helpful stuff. I think they don't necessarily like tether to each other one to one, and that's
Well,
the former is my issue.
I do want to push back on the we had stuff like that years ago for at least specifically for the medical fields, like protein folding specifically. The rate at which we have, like, yeah, we had iterations of this technology in the past, but the rate at which we've been able to learn about new proteins and stuff has increased dramatically with the use of with Google's tools.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the, my my maybe I'm wrong in having this gut response, but the reason I feel like I would slightly push back on that pushback is I'll fully grant that we've probably got that sooner than we would have done, but there's kind of people more in the know than me. I'm not a tech guy, but apparently the picture I have is that there's been a sort of blindness that has come about as a result of the massive investment, the chat GPT post chat GPT era, where it's like all of the research and all of the development has been going towards like hyper scaling, like spending more and more money and doing it that way. And like you see the guys in China with whatever that one was called, where they spent so much less money and they
Yeah.
just went down a slightly different research path, and they were able to reproduce a lot of the efficacy that the
Yeah.
bigger models had. And in the timeline where we don't all lose our minds in this hype cycle and throw all the money in the world into it, like more research pathways would have been open, because the situation of the past few years is it's a lot harder now to actually get funding or like the leeway in academia or like in private research labs to try things out that aren't just hyperscaling. Like a lot of those
Mhm.
opportunities have gone. I think we would have we would definitely have had some progress towards these things,
Yeah. Yeah.
in a slightly different
Oh, no
environment.
doubt. And I'm in no way advocating for the like, oh, all of the resources we're wasting on all of the LLMs have been worth it because of the protein folding.
Yeah.
Um,
When someone think of the proteins.
I actually I think it would be a lot better if there were regulation in place where like you cannot use this much electricity unless you are generating so much like I don't know. There needs to be some sort of regulation on it. Um, but yeah, no, people in the chat are bringing up Fold at Home, which I don't know if you were familiar with that program, but that was like you could lend out your computers, basically like Bitcoin mining, but for folding proteins instead of solving useless math equations to make number go up. Um,
Yeah, it's best not to think too hard about the possible kind of collective alternatives of the current moment we have, where everything is a bit more distributed and a bit more community minded, and people pitching in to get to the same results. Because you will end up in a straitjacket if you kind of go down that rabbit hole too much. Uh,
yeah, the what ifs of the world.
yeah,
Um, well, not to change topics too drastically here, but let's talk about Superman a little bit. Your
sure.
Superman is not Jesus series. Um, that's actually where I learned. So I'm not big into comic books. I've never really read comic books, and
Yeah.
I have watched most of Marvel's. I think it was Phase One, the first series of movies with like the Avengers and all that. I don't know where the phases end, but like I basically have seen them all up to at least the Infinity War thing. I had no idea that the original creator of Superman was Jewish.
Yeah.
And so the idea of co-opting a Jewish created figure who was created with as like an allegory for Moses into Christianity and being like, now he's Jesus. I had no idea that that was even a thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, to a point, you know, it's another one of those situations where, you know, you rip off the Scooby-Doo villain's head and it's capitalism. Like, obviously, it is just a case of, you know, minority identities getting suppressed and getting whitewashed because it sells more. But there's also you know, it intersects with the kind of historical trends I talk about a little bit in the videos of, like, you know, supersessionism or whatever you want to call it, where it's just like, what's the meme where it's like the guy is like, I like this, it's mine now, and like Christians just doing that to Jews for like millennia.
Yeah, I know the meme you're talking about. I don't know what it's called, but well, I mean,
it's awesome though. It's like a kind of double effect because so my mum's a Christian, and every time, like, you know, she'll be talking about something and I'll make a response that's like, okay, but you know, what about Leviticus when it says you should, like, every time a woman breathes, you should kill her with a rock? And she'll be like, oh no, the Old Testament doesn't count because, like, you know, there was a new Jesus made like a new covenant or something. That's where the Ten
Commandments were.
Yeah, it's like, you know, this is all as we're going to call it biblical stuff, you know, when we talk about Moses and Noah and stuff, even though it's, you know, from the Talmud or the Torah, I get mixed up. On the one hand, we're going to take it all, and on the other hand, actually, no, it doesn't count anymore. I think that rocks. I think that's awesome.
Well, I mean, there's also the fact that Jesus himself was an allegory for Moses.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was Jewish. I was going to be like,
oh yeah,
nah,
no,
they don't have to talk about that.
Oh.
Yeah, I brought that up at one point in a video, like the way that, like, the Jesus character is, to some degree, like, riffing on, you know, the Moses character that people were already familiar with, and like that broke some people's brains in the comments. You know, they were like, "What are you talking about? Jesus was a real guy. How can he be a reference, you know, to someone else?" And it's like, you know, people are writing about someone, even if he was real. You know.
I mean, the stories weren't
written down until
the stories weren't written down until like 30 years after he died. So, like,
yeah,
that's a long time. Like within months, people were saying Elvis was still alive.
Yeah.
So, like, legendary growth happens quick.
Yeah, people still think Paul McCartney's alive.
He is, isn't he?
Fucking, hey, look it up. I'm just gonna say, look it up. Look it up.
I'm sorry, I don't know my Beatles very well. I know a couple of them are still kicking around. Yeah, Paul McCartney tour 2025.
Try searching, like, is.
Oh, no. Is this the one where he was replaced with the conspiracy theory where he was replaced with a doppelganger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Robot,
okay.
You know,
yeah. No, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, people don't even need to die for legends to grow up around them.
Nah. Well, like, Jesus, you know, he didn't really die because he rose from the grave and he's like squeegeeing.
No, but that's the thing, is that he did really die in order for the mythology to work. Because if he didn't really die, then he couldn't have come back from the dead. But yeah, no, it's and it's actually interesting when you look at, if you actually take the Gospels, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you read them independently of each other, you can see how each book had a different intention with the character. And most of the Moses metaphors come from Matthew. Like that's where you get, actually, no, I get Matthew and Luke confused all the time. So it might be Luke, but I'm pretty sure it's Matthew. So that's where you get Herod killing all the children under 2 years old. And so, like, that's very reminiscent of Pharaoh killing all the Hebrew babies. And there's a bunch more like that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but yeah, he's very much supposed to be the next Moses.
You know what I always think about? Not to change the channel too much, but, you know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, some of these biblical names have really stuck around. And then, like, you know, who's calling their kid Saul, you know?
Or
where's the justice for the...
Or Thaddeus.
Exactly.
Well,
you get some
there are some Thaddeus.
Thaddeus. I think Thaddeus is the plural, yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's also That's also the anglicization of the names, because it wasn't some guy named Matthew going around. It was like
Oh
Matthias
yeah.
or something. I don't actually know what the I know. Oh, another hat. Fuck you, Jessa. Okay. Gay
He
Unicorn
says he
Gary.
wants Gug,
Hmm?
or he, she, or
Oh,
they.
Gug
Give
is
me Gug.
Gay Unicorn Gary.
Oh, nice. They got Gug.
This is my my
Oh fuck,
response.
there is a Saul. Sorry, I'm getting caught up in chat.
Oh yeah,
Better
yeah.
call Saul.
Okay. No, I. Fuck. What are the? I'm googling it because I don't have them memorized. I'm sorry, but come on, just give me the list. Yeah, no, we got most of the disciples are still around today, but um, yeah, no, there are a lot of biblical names that don't quite make the cut. But I rather like the joke about how Jesus is actually a Greek mistranslation of an Aramaic name, and when you actually do take it back, it should be Joseph, or no, not Joseph, Joshua.
Joshua.
Is
Yeah.
Yeshua, and then Christ means anointed one, and to anoint someone is to rub oil on their foreheads. So his name is
Oily
literally
Josh.
Oily Josh. Yes,
Nice.
that's one of my favorite jokes. It's actually not correct. It's there is a different Greek name for Joshua, not the one that Jesus gets translated to.
I mean, oily Jesus is still, still got a ring to it.
It does. It's just not quite as fun. But yeah. So I have gotten through all of the questions that I had pre-prepared. So is there anything that you would like to talk about?
Oh, I don't know. Put a penny in me, I'll be going all day.
I mean, I have another 3 hours.
Yeah. Let me think. I've got some stuff. Here's something. Completely not related to any of this, but it was something I was thinking about 5 minutes before I hopped on stream. How fucked up is this, right? So I've got an app on my phone. It's called Beer Buddy. It's like the idea is it's like, I don't know if you have ever used the app Be Real.
No.
Well, probably people in chat will know what I'm talking about. It's like the gimmick of Be Real. It got big like 5 years ago. It was like at any point during the day, randomly it'll go off, and then you have to take a picture within 2 minutes. And it's like, it's a social media, but it kind of cuts through the filteredness, and by just being random, then like you get to see how each other are actually really living your lives. And there's this alcoholic clone version of it that my friend group have like all downloaded over the past few months, and it doesn't have the random thing, but like the idea is anytime you're drinking a beer, you take a picture, and it's like you can open it up and see all your mates in the pub or whatever. So I downloaded this not long ago, and it's so gamified. It's horrifying. There's like a leaderboard. There's like ranks, and
God.
It's been sending me push notifications. It's been saying like, hey Pillar, it's that time of day. Have a drink. Hey, it's been a while since you cracked one open. I'm glad I don't have a problem. I'm just drinking my live stream beer. This is something I do when I hop on, like a live stream or do a podcast to kind of loosen me up. But like I'm kind of fine. I don't have a problem with any sort of substances in that sense. But if I did, Jesus fucking Christ,
Yeah, no, I
messed up.
I say this as someone like I could see myself becoming an alcoholic.
Yeah.
However,
I'll go that, but for gambling.
I am too lazy with that for that though, because like if there is beer in the house, I will just drink it. If there is not beer in the house, I am too lazy to go to the store to buy it. So my laziness saves me there. But yeah, I could absolutely see that actually being something that helps someone towards alcoholism.
Yeah. Well, that's a soft way of putting it. Imagine if there was like, heroin, buddy, and it's like, come on, buddy, come on.
You wanna. It's been a while.
Does it feel like your skin is crawling right now? Just grab the needle.
God. Yeah, of all the things that don't need gamifying, that doesn't need gamifying the most.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, actually, if you don't mind, you said that would be you could see yourself going that way with gambling.
Yeah.
Do are you comfortable talking about that a little?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I don't gamble at all. I don't have never like placed a bet on uh like sports things, and like I don't do any like pseudo gambling at the moment, and I haven't for years. But all I mean is like uh one of the games I play a lot is Counter-Strike, and
Hmm.
I was playing that as for like 10 plus years, and that's got a huge like child gambling problem
Yeah.
where it's the same as all the other things where you've got the loot crates and it's built in, and it's like, will you get the rare thing that you can sell for money and make a profit? And just like when I was in my teens, like at school, and I had like a part-time job, I spent more money out of that than I should have done on these, the in-game loot boxes, and it's just, oh, you did get a rush, you know what I mean? So anytime I think about alternate universe me being swallowed up by this vice or the other one, I just think it'd probably be a bit of fun to be a gambler. It'd probably be like that much fun, and then it'd be really horrible, but. If you give me infinite money, I'll probably see what the casino's saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I can see that. That's not something that I actually can even relate to because, like, for me, just anytime I see any sort of gambling thing, I just like because I know that it is intentionally rigged in favor of the house
Yeah.
in all cases. Like, there's not a single case where the person playing the game has better chances of winning. Otherwise, that game wouldn't exist anymore. Um, because I know that, I'm just like, well, I'm not going to put money in that. Like the one time I've been to a casino was a friend of mine when he turned 19. He wanted to go on his birthday, and I went in with $20. Like, I don't know what to do here, so I just put it all in the slots, and I left with 60. I'm like, okay,
You're the
I
one
can.
person in history to walk away with a net profit. Yeah.
Yes, as that's the only time I have gambled. I did scratch cards a couple times, but then it's just like,
Yeah.
eh. So
Oh
I
shit!
just
Here's another thing. I forgot about this. Did you go on any pubs while you were here in the UK?
I did. Oh, that
Because
was
sometimes you get fruit machines in the pub, and those are, you
yeah.
know,
So
send me into the
I
pub
was
with
there
a
with my
pocket full of loose
teenage
change, and I'll lose it all in there.
I was there with my teenage child, so I was trying to keep it to the more family friendly
Yeah.
establishments. Um, but that was another thing I know. This wasn't. I don't think this was UK wide. This was mostly a Scotland thing, where like
Yeah.
walking around Edinburgh at dinner time, it was impossible to find somewhere that was serving food.
Really?
Yeah, they're all like, no,
What
we
do you
stopped
think in
serving
dinner
food
time
at three
is?
o'clock. It's drinks time.
Oh, I mean,
And I,
most places I think serve until I don't know, like 8, 9 ish. Some people, yeah. I mean, Edinburgh's. There's a lot of pubs in Edinburgh. To be
yeah,
fair,
um,
a lot of the time, a lot of our hospitality, I guess, spaces in a city are taken up by pubs, which kind of serve food as an afterthought.
yeah. Well, that was the thing that kind of struck me in that because in Canada, it's actually illegal to serve alcohol if you do not also serve food. So like, you can't just be open for drinks.
Yeah, I actually visited Canada for the first time earlier this year because my partner's sister is working out there, so we went to visit her, and that that kind of blew my mind a little bit. It's like, so I can't just go to a bar. I can't just go to a pub. I've got to like go to like the hot wings restaurant and sit down and like just be like, no, I actually don't want any food. I just want to drink.
Yeah, no, that's well, you have bars. It's just a bar and restaurant. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's the go-to food in strip clubs in Canada is the chicken wings. So it's just an easy,
Oh,
cheap thing that they can serve that nobody actually wants. Like, can you imagine eating at a strip club, but they can't serve beer unless they also serve food?
I've not been to a strip club. I don't think I'm likely to go to a strip club. If I did go to a strip club, I think the last thing I would want to eat would be a hot wing. It's like, what is the least kind of sensual food item imaginable? Oh yeah, it leaves your face covered in chili
Yeah, yep,
chili oil and dripping from your hands. Great,
yep. No,
good stuff.
I can't imagine wanting to eat any food at a strip club. That's just I don't know. That just seems wrong to me.
Well, it's like, the Seinfeld episode where George Costanza tries to spice up his kind of bedroom activities by bringing a sandwich in with him. I guess there's like that 1% of people, but you can't imagine they're making the margin on the 1%.
I mean, that's one of the biggest fights I have with my partner is that she will eat crackers in bed occasionally. It's like, no, no,
No.
you get that fucking shit out of the bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping in crumbs. But yeah. Actually, okay. So, question about the train system in England.
Yes.
How often do people
God.
die on the tracks?
Not that infrequently. Definitely, I've been on one in the past few months where I think it was delayed hours for that reason.
Was that in July by any chance?
Oh, it might have been. I don't know. To be honest,
that's when I was there. I was trying to catch the train back to oh god, where did we fly out of? Glasgow, I think. Train to Glasgow, and our train was delayed several hours and then canceled, and then our replacement train was also delayed several hours and then canceled, and then our third train finally got us there.
Our country has a number of problems. The trains are definitely on that list. I take a lot of trains. I don't drive, so I'm on a train semi-regularly. I swear to God, because this is something me and my girlfriend talk about, like, holy shit, can you believe this? It must be like 6 months since we've been on a train that hasn't been delayed or cancelled. Like, and that's, we're talking double digits. We're probably talking like 20, 30 plus trains. It's with alarming regularity that there's something fucked up about our trains. It's, it's bizarre. They're just run so cheaply, and half of them are owned by like Italian train companies. And Italian trains are great. I don't know why they can't do the same thing over here. I've been on a train in Italy. It's like, oh yeah,
talking about Italian trains running on time. You're getting close to.
I think this was before Maloney came in, but yeah. So there's not necessarily a 1-to-1 good trains equals fascism link, but they got cheap trains. They go well over that.
I mean,
I think whichever train company executives they're flying over here are just hitting their heads on the way off the plane. I don't know. It's rough. Don't talk to me about British trains. I'll get all het up.
Oh no, I'm right there with you. I'm still mad about all the delays I had on that trip, because I also we popped around Europe a little bit.
Yeah.
And every time we went to Italy and Germany.
Oh yeah.
So my family is Scottish, and it's kind of a rite of passage that when the kids turn 16, they go see the site where our family castle used to be. The actual town that we ruled over is underwater now, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
And when my dad took me, one of my biggest regrets is that we didn't really go anywhere. Like we spent all but 3 days of the trip were spent in the UK, and we did go to Paris for a couple days. And
if you're going all the way, you might as well do a little bit of sightseeing.
Yeah, like I tried to convince him to take me to Italy, and he said no, that's not. We're not doing that. And then we found out years later there's a flight to Italy for like £23.
Oh yeah,
and
you can get some super cheap flights if you just don't mind getting on a slightly ratty plane at a strange time.
Oh yeah, we were with EasyJet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the trip to Berlin was delayed by like 33 hours because Germany has that weird, or actually I think Berlin specifically has like a curfew for planes. So our first flight was delayed by like an hour, and because of that hour it put it past the curfew, so you're actually canceled.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed Europe. Being able to like actually walk around and take transit was a nice change from here.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not too far away from Toronto, but the transit, and like I'm in the Niagara region, and the transit here is such that like if I wanted to take the bus from the town that I live in to another town in the Niagara region, it's like a 4-hour trip for what would be a 20-minute drive.
Yeah. When I went to Canada, I knew your public transport system was slightly shoddy in some respects, but it did shock me a little bit.
Whereabouts in Canada did you go?
Uh, Around Banff, and then
Okay.
we went sort of near the American border for a couple of days afterwards.
Okay.
It's still
Um,
in Alberta. I rode a horse. It was awesome.
yeah, we do have a lot of horse riding places,
Yeah.
but
The horse they gave me was called Slow Joe.
I forget the last time I rode a horse. I forget what its name was, but like it was the biggest horse you've ever seen, and his nickname was the Couch because he's just a comfortable ride. I'm like, okay, I'll take the easy one. Um,
Canada also fucked me up a little bit in that s- going into your supermarkets, some things were really cheap and some things were really expensive.
hmm
Like I was looking at like the bottles of Coke that were big enough to like, hydrate a family for like 6 weeks, and it was like, $1.50 or something.
Yeah,
And then it is like when you hunt through the entire supermarket for the one can of tomatoes that don't have like sugar and God knows what else and corn syrup and fucking, wheat starch or whatever pumped into them, it's like,
it's like,
oh, these are actually going to be $10, just
yeah,
to buy a can of tomatoes or something.
yep. That's how it
Awesome.
is. Before Trump was around, we actually used to do some of our grocery shopping in the States because like dairy products were a lot cheaper in the States,
Yeah.
like your eggs and your milk and stuff. Not entirely true anymore, and I don't cross the border anymore.
I don't know what it is with the Americans and their eggs, but there's something they get really invested in egg prices. It's like all your petrol over there is still like half the price of ours, I think. So it is, I think, when when North Americans come over and they talk about cost of living, it does kind of chagrin British people and Europeans a little bit for reasons like that. But like, I don't have anything to do with Americans, but I still know that there's been like a roller coaster about egg prices in the past few years,
Yep.
and they're saying, oh, the restaurants can't even stock the eggs anymore because they're so expensive. And then you fucking translate the prices of the eggs, and they're still the same price they are over here. So it's like,
Yeah. I mean, I think that was just the one food item that got really picked up on by the news cycle with
here's
like
the thing:
a lot of
get
the
more chickens. There you go.
well, the problem in the States is that they'll get more chickens, they'll stuff them into the factory farms, and then the avian flu will rip through and kill them all. That is actually why egg prices were more expensive than they had been previously in the States, is because they had to do a lot of culling because of bird flu. But of course, the Republicans were just like, nope, it's Biden's fault.
Well, you say that in a mocking tone, but bird flu and Biden do both start with the same letter, so I think we
They
would be
do, they do.
premature to completely throw away any kind of causality here.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's all Biden's fault. Yeah, no, they're still blaming Biden for like the beef prices are up, and Donald Trump is like, oh no, this is because of Biden's economy. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's a
get
good
that.
thing they do over here. Like, the Labour are in at the moment, and they're making a real pig's ear out of the country. But the Conservatives were in before for like 15 years, and even coming up to the economy, sorry, the election, they would be saying stuff like, "Yeah, well, we can't fix society. We can't spend any money on the hospitals or the schools or anything because like Labour last time they were in, they spent all the money, and it's like people have born." People have been born, lived, and some of them have died in the space of time since the other brand of shitlib was in office, and you're still like blaming them for the fact that you're not going to spend any money.
Yeah,
If I was in close proximity to a politician, I would probably I would last like a couple of days before I just caved their head in with a brick. Can I say that? Is that going to demonetize us?
I don't think so. I'm not worried about
Okay.
monetization for this one, as long as people donate to Project Share by going to
Yes.
donate.vicerhino.com. Um,
Can I say that if they don't, I'm going to cave their heads in with a brick, or is that kind of
that
toeing the
might that
line?
might be crossing a line.
All right, let's
You
strike
will
that.
you
Let's
will
strike that
allegedly
from the
you
record.
will allegedly
Yeah,
cave their heads in
in
with a brick.
Roblox. Yeah,
It is my opinion.
yeah. Some have said. People are saying it.
Oh, that's the pure defense right there. Uh, yeah, no, that's the thing is that like politicians are like they're fully willing to understand the nuance of how the economy works when things are bad, and they can blame it on the previous guy. But as soon as things are
Yeah.
going well, then yeah, no, look what I did. This is what I did.
We had a very funny thing. What day is it? Is it Wednesday today?
No, Thursday. Well,
Thursday. Okay.
Thursday here. We're
Yeah.
on the same side of the date line, right?
Yeah. It's Thursday here. I'm just, again, time has lost meaning to me. There was a hilarious thing yesterday where the government set out their budget. And I think just before the chancellor of I've got like zero brain cells left. The whichever title of the chancellor of the exchequer or whoever it is that does the budget was going to give their speech. It all leaked online, and immediately the government office that it leaked through like set out full responsibility, but then the other party was blaming the main party, and then the main party. And you could go and like watch the streams from inside Parliament, and it would be like it was like a school ground. They were just all like yelling at each other and like imitating what the previous person had said in silly voices, and it caused quite a bit of chaos. This budget leak, because it sort of, I think it undercut the way they wanted to sell certain things or whatever, and it was, it also makes us look pretty bad from like an international perspective. Like, oh yeah, Britain's got their shit together. Oh no, wait, they just one of the most important announcements of the year leaked early.
British Parliament has always been kind of an MMA battle.
Yeah. But like where I keep coming back to is that even if the person who did it for like, who knows why they did it? Maybe they're fascists trying to undermine the current neoliberal government. Whatever. It was kind of funny, It made me laugh. So I think I'm on board for that reason.
Doremo 10 is asking, was this a trust thing?
Oh no.
That was Liz Truss was the lettuce, right?
Yeah, Liz Truss was the lettuce.
Okay. Thank you, Swift Tortle, for resubscribing. Appreciate that. Now go to Project Share, or go to donate.vicerunner.com and give some money to Project Share. Anselin says time is an illusion, tea time doubly so.
I'll have a cup of tea after this.
I know that's a quote, but I don't remember where it's from. I have heard it said. And I can even kind of hear the person's voice who said it. Yeah. Okay, well, I think they've... I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm a professional. This is what I was talking about. My head's just going in 5 different directions, and so nothing comes out of my mouth. So if you don't have anything else you want to talk about, I am okay ending the stream here.
Yeah, I mean, I could ramble if you want. I don't have, there's not a bunch that's like, I mean, I could go through some weird emails I've got or something like that. But in terms of like pressing sort of, cultural commentary that I've got to get off my chest or something, the well is running rather dry. It's been, I've sort of done very little for the past 2.5 months other than just like make video after video. So I think I need to like regenerate some brain cells before I have a super awesome take on a topic I can whack out off the cuff.
Oh, well, maybe we might be able to discuss this if you've watched some of the same stuff as me. Have you seen either the second season of Has Been Hotel or Good Omens?
No.
Okay.
The people in my Discord server have. They love all of these things that I never have time to watch. This is another thing that fucks me up. I'll vent about this and then we can circle back. So, we're YouTubers. We're supposed to be making videos about things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a sort of messed up structure though, because you spend all your time making the video about the thing and then you don't have time to watch the thing. I've still got there's so many TV shows that have come out in the past year or so that I've just been kind of grinding, and then I
Yeah,
don't see them. And then maybe I'm missing out on like 20 million clicks, because if I had made a video about them, it would have gone gangbusters. And it's
maybe.
getting to the point now where it's even the same with like YouTubers I like. Like, I don't even have time to really watch YouTube anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just probably like 20 Jacob Geller videos in my backlog.
that is definitely one of the downfalls of being a professional YouTuber is that like I don't want to watch YouTube when I'm not working because that feels like
Yeah.
work. Someone donated $50 anonymously and said, "I'm just a little person." Thank you for
Yo,
that.
shout out that guy.
Um,
Little person, big difference.
yeah, no, that is definitely something that I've noticed. As to Has Been Hotel and Good Omens, I enjoyed both season twos. Nowhere near as good as season one. I'm not going to give spoilers, but what I will say is that I think one of the things that they had in common that made them less enjoyable than the first season was that the main characters were not really being proactive with anything. It was all reactionary. A thing just happened. This is how I react to that thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in the first season, in both cases, it's like this is what is like we know something is coming, and these are the actions we are going to take to prepare for that. These are how we're going to prepare for all the different potential outcomes for that. And it just Good Omens in particular, it felt like nothing even happened in the season until the last episode.
That's so annoying when they do that, isn't it? It feels like it's been like 10, 15 years since the kind of streaming episode structure has started getting normalized, and some shows are still figuring out how to actually write a season of television in this new structure. There's nothing
Well,
worse
I
than
mean, I think one of the big issues with that is the whether or not it's actually going to be picked up for a second season. So
yeah,
they, and I think your Stranger Things video today kind of touched on it a bit. But like one of the reasons for the shift in Stranger Things tone, I think, is that the first season they didn't know if there was going to be a season two.
yeah,
So like they
yeah. It
did set up
was
something at
this
the end, but it was
self-contained thing.
but they didn't have this overarching this is our long term what we're going to do over the
Yeah.
course of several seasons thing. It was just we have to make it contained and also have a thing at the end where if we do get picked up again, we can continue.
Yeah, and it's often thinking about Stranger Things in particular, there are a lot of moments where you can kind of see the seams. You see moments where, in retrospect, clearly this doesn't really fit with that, and
Yep.
pivot points. I mean, the biggest one is the episode in season 2 I talk about where they go to Chicago and then we never see any of those people ever again.
Yeah, like what happened to the illusion people?
Yeah.
Like
Um,
I was so excited to
I
see what
guess-
other powers these kids would have.
yeah. Oh, okay. They're all the same. I think that's fine. I think TV shows are obviously going to have to do that to an extent. I think it sticks out more than it would have done in previous decades because there are so few episodes now. It's like if you're watching a sitcom from 30 years ago and there's 26 episodes in a season, you're not going to catch the time that in season 1 they reference, hey, I've got a sister, and then 3 seasons later it's a plot point that they're an only child or something like that. But with something like Stranger Things as well, like everything can't just be a TV show. It's also got to be like, PR, especially if you're that big. And it just rubs me the wrong way a little bit when, they try and sell you, hey, this is what we've been building to all along. This is the plan. This is the master's genius stroke. And there's not been a ton of that with Stranger Things, but like,
I think George Lucas is the king of that one. Like,
Oh,
oh yeah,
yeah.
no, I always knew that Luke and Leia were brother and sister, even when I had them
that's
making
why I
out.
made them kiss.
Yeah, no, there are definitely some rewrites going on in his head about like, and I actually think that George honestly believes what he says about having always had everything planned out because he did have a lot planned out.
Yeah. I mean, he probably the amount of stuff they shot and changed in the process of, because the original Star Wars movies, like it was like you got to roll double sixes for them to come out the way they did. Like if one thing had gone differently in the production process, they would have been an absolute mess. Heap of nonsense. You got all the other people that don't get the limelight who were like involved in co-writes and rewrites and making them into like proper well-ordered things. But maybe there was a scene that's just on the cutting room floor of immediately after they kiss in episode 5, you know, it does sort of feel like we're, that was kissed more felt like I was kissing a sibling than a lover, you know. Release the
Pretty sure that
judge
doesn't
Luke.
exist.
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
With the magic of AI, it can.
I mean, in today's world with the porn that is most often front and center in everybody's radar,
Yeah, I know.
that's
the way in which
probably
Star Wars was
like
ahead
it
of the
probably could have been
curve.
intentional.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't stand that. But yeah, so okay. Well, I think we can call it a day.
Okay. Yeah. Last call to action for any of my viewers here. Hey, why don't you spend some money on helping people eat food? We all love food. Look, here's some food right now. Head over to the link. Just been put in the chat again.
Yep.
Do what you can do. You know,
Yeah, you can.
it's rough out there. We're all just trying to do our bit.
You can click the link in the chat, or you can go to donate.vicedrone.com. That is a forward. Sometimes it doesn't work, so clicking the link will have a better result. But yeah, thanks for everyone who's donated. Thank you, Pillar of Garbage, for joining me. And yeah, I look forward to continuing to watch your channel.
Thank you.
And yeah, as much as Stranger Things Season 1 was the best one, I'm still looking forward to Season 5.
Yeah, I might go and watch the first episode right now.
I will not, because I have work to do. All right, thanks for joining me. And
Thanks for having me.
have a wonderful day.
You too.